One.
Hey YouTubers, Raven here,
Starfire.
and tonight we're going to be talking about The Flash!
Season 5, episode 16, I think. Because I think last week was 15, so.
Well, it was a really good episode.
Yeah, episode 16. Failure is an orphan. That's what it's called.
That makes no sense. Well, it doesn't mean that it makes sense.
No, I know. I'm just showing you.
Like, good episode.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
What did you like about it?
I don't know. I liked that, Nora always seems to... Yeah, she's not perfect, but none of them are, but she always starts to realize what's important, when things like that happen, and Iris just wanted to spend as much time with her as she could, because she doesn't know when she's going to see her again.
Yeah, I mean, she does, but
in that age,
yeah,
she's not going to see her at that age.
I mean, she will, but also it'll be when Nora hates her.
Yeah.
Like, she has to go through this entire stage of Nora hating her before she gets to the Nora that's gonna go back in time and spend the rest of her life with her mom, with her best friend. She doesn't get her best friend until after Nora goes to the past.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And, I mean, I liked the way Barry approached the stuff with Cicada to try to get him to take the cure, because he went about it as a father to father.
Yeah.
Because that literally is the only way he'd really get through to him.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be something like that, and then he went for a legacy. And I was like, dude.
It's like, that's not going to work.
No. But the really weird question that I have, like, I mean, it's not a weird question, it's a weird concept, is that if they give the vaccine to the girl,
to Grace,
then future Grace can't come back in time to save
Cicada.
Right.
Or Oren, whatever his name is.
So, does this mean they never give her the cure?
I don't know.
Because she can't...
Maybe because it was, like, it cured, Oren. It awakened the future Grace as Cicada.
Because Grace has powers now.
Yeah, it just brought it out because now there's not one in the present.
She had powers before he lost his. So him losing his powers doesn't awaken the power within her. So, like, I mean, but she's in a coma.
But then why didn't we see her when he still had them? Because it was just in her mind? Or what?
Because she hadn't come from the future yet.
Okay, so something caused her to come from the future when they were in the process of curing him.
Yes. And we know she's from the future because we saw the little time travel ball.
Yeah.
That's why Cicada stopped killing. And then started killing again. He's not the villain that Flash failed to save. Flash saved him. Flash got him. He never escaped. He's just a villain who had a niece that had the same powers as he did. Which is probably why the cicada in her mind manifested. Which is why she had a cicada in her mind. It's because she had the same powers as him. Why she uses 2 daggers confuses me.
Just to make her more badass? I don't know.
No, like, Cicada uses the one that injured him because it's the one he has a connection to.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem to need them. She just uses her hands and it does the thing for her. Because technically, I mean, she's not really Cicada in the same sense.
Yeah.
She created daggers that looked like his so that she could continue to pretend to be him. But her powers don't work the same.
Yeah.
They don't come from the dagger. They come from the injury on her head. And she doesn't need the mask. She doesn't need the getup. She's just doing it because it's what he did.
Yeah.
And she wanted his legacy to continue even after he was gone or stopped being Cicada. So when she got old enough, she created the outfit, she got the masks, she made the weapons.
Yeah.
Probably because she didn't actually have the real dagger.
Dagger just makes me think of Rumple.
Yeah.
Because he had the connection with that, because he was the dark one.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. At first, I thought that it was just that Grace just manifested the cicada that was in her mind. Because that made sense.
Right.
But future Grace coming to the past with powers means that she never got the cure. So
And
I'm confused.
yeah, hopefully once they figure out like that it's the niece, they'll try to administer it to the Grace in a coma, and if that helps remove, the future one, then
well, technically it wouldn't because it'd be a different timeline once she got immunized.
yeah. So I mean, she still could be the same way if she's from a different timeline. Like,
no, because currently Grace still has her powers. Therefore, future Grace with powers makes sense.
But if she doesn't have them anymore, it wouldn't.
Exactly. So, because at the moment she has not been given the antidote, she still has powers. But the second that she gets the antidote, the Grace from the future that has powers is now from an alternate timeline. I mean, because that's how it worked. That's kind of how it worked with Flashpoint. No one had powers. And then the past was changed.
Yeah.
And, everything. So, now it's just that, like, we're seeing it on a much smaller scale. And now they just have to decide whether or not they're going to let it be that that she keeps her powers and they say she's from an alternate timeline now, or that she loses her powers and she disappears because she never came from the future because she didn't have powers. We don't know which one they're going to go for, but which one they go for will lead us to the knowledge of how they're going to treat Nora. That if things go a certain way, then it's like, well, technically this version of Nora no longer exists. Or, just stuff like that.
Wouldn't she exist in an alternate timeline or no?
Well, yes, there's always alternate timelines with every decision you make.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a version that made the other one.
Yeah.
So there's constantly being created alternate timelines. But the idea is that okay, it's like Charmed with Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Two Chris's couldn't really exist in the same moment.
Yeah.
And so the moment future Chris died is when baby Chris was born.
Yeah.
Well, the future version of Chris, because the past was changed, I mean, like, look at him.
Yeah.
He's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not even dating what's her name.
I don't even remember her name.
Right? Like,
it's been forever since I've watched Charmed.
Samantha or something like that.
I can't even tell you right now.
But, like, you see where I'm going? Like, well, if Nora, like,
But see, baby Nora doesn't exist yet. Like, Iris isn't
as
even
far
pregnant.
as we know.
Yeah.
Like, we don't, I mean, the Flash always got plenty of energy.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, at this point in time, we know that Iris is not pregnant.
No, we don't. We don't know she's not pregnant. We know they're having sex. And that sex leads to babies.
Unless you're protected.
Yes, but I'm pretty sure that if the Flash used a rubber, that thing would burn and catch fire within her. Okay, I'm sorry I had to go there, but you suggested the protection.
What? Okay. It's true!
Well, so is the laws of friction. Okay?
You mean the laws of physics?
No.
Friction!
I can't believe I had to do that on YouTube. But this is him. Friction! Come on! That rubber ain't gonna last long. You're gonna break it.
What if she has birth control, though?
I don't always... there's a 0.1% chance here, okay?
I know. I'm just giving out all the options here. I'm sorry.
But, I mean, we don't know if they're using a rubber or if they're using pills.
I know.
Or if she's got that thing in her arm that makes her unable to have kids. Or she's got the ring or whatever.
It's more likely that,
yeah.
because they're married,
Mm-hmm.
they're not.
Right.
But I'm just putting it out there.
They're letting it free flow.
Oh, God. You said that. I did not make you say that, okay?
Oh, I know.
That was all you.
That just popped in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. So I just had to say it.
Anyway, no, we do not know if she is pregnant or not.
She may not even know she's pregnant. I mean, you don't actually know.
Like, wasn't that how it was with Piper? Like, she didn't know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you don't actually know.
And I mean, it was
unless you have suspicion.
Yeah. And a lot of it was because the actress was pregnant in real life with Piper. But yeah.
But, like, I mean, really, you can go a month, 2 months.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. I mean,
about 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, about a month to 2 months.
We don't know how long it's been since we saw them doing it on screen.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with them, like, not showing married couples kissing or being together.
Well, I mean, You can't show the deed because it's.
I'm not asking them to do that. I just mean, like, at
It's not
least
HBO.
show affection.
Well, they do show affection. They show lots of affection.
They didn't in this episode.
The connection, the connection and affection was just not like physical. It was spiritual.
No, I know. I like them. I'm just saying.
Mhm. But like I'm saying, she might be pregnant. Nora never told them what year she was born.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Flash vanishes after Crisis.
Yeah.
Oh, what is next season crossover called?
Crisis of Infinite Earth.
And Barry was able to raise Nora as a baby before he disappeared.
Yeah. She was just too young to remember him.
Exactly. So, Nora has to be born between now and then.
Yeah. Maybe the end of this season will be when she'll be like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, because they do always do like about 9 months between seasons, right?
Give or take.
Yeah. So, I mean, she could be like, oh, I'm pregnant last couple episodes, and then...
Because they come back in October and they end in May, so...
Well, yeah, not real world 9 months.
Yeah. Within the show time.
Yeah, because, like, 9 months, like, because he was in a coma for 9 months.
Yeah.
So every season takes place 9 months after the previous season.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
I mean, that's what they've been
because
doing,
that's how
right?
long they... Yeah, I mean, and that's about how long a season goes anyway, is 9 months.
Yeah.
Because it goes from, like, October or September to, like, May, which is 9 months, about.
Yeah, but from the finale to the premiere is... They say only 9 months have passed between this episode and this episode.
Yeah.
In TV time.
Mm-hmm.
Not our time.
Yeah.
So therefore stating that if we find out that she is preggo before the end of this season, then she's got the baby within the first couple weeks of next season.
Yeah.
But we do know that Barry got to help raise her as a baby. Therefore, he was probably there for her first time walking. You don't walk before you're 1.
Yeah.
So...
Well, 9 months is almost a year. It's like 3 months away from being a year. So...
She'd be born within the first couple episodes of the season. She's not getting 9 months to become a toddler and walk around. Before Crisis. That's 8 weeks of TV. So, I mean, we don't always know how long, but damn, Cecile was pregnant for forever before that shit got birthed. Okay?
Yeah, she was.
So...
Some shows speed up pregnancies, some don't. It
Yes.
just depends on the show.
But if they're going to keep it canon, they've got to give her about the same time that Cecile had.
Yeah.
So that's an entire season. They can't do that and have Barry raise her and have him disappear after Crisis.
But do we know if he did raise her to the point where she was walking?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it was walking, but he got to, like, they said that he got to raise her as a baby. That he got, like, maybe a year or so with her.
Okay.
So, I mean, already, it's too late.
Yeah.
And, yes, she is from a future where the Flash didn't vanish until 2024. So...
Well...
She technically isn't born until later, but they've moved up the timeline.
Yeah, obviously they have to move up the timeline in order for it to work the way that they're showing it right now.
Yes, but the Flash disappears after Crisis while let's see, they said that Arrow was there and all the other ones.
Legends, Supergirl.
The Supergirl and the Flash's friends and maybe a legend or two, they were there. They witnessed it.
Yeah.
He disappeared into the Speed Force with, for the life of me, I can't even remember who it was. But he didn't even disappear into the Speed Force. Like, there was lightning strikes and whatever, which makes us think that it was into the Speed Force.
Mm-hmm.
But lightning strikes and all like that, and he was gone. And so is the bad guy that they were fighting. But that means that if he disappears next season, then when's Nora gonna be born? Because technically this version of Nora isn't. I mean, she's what, 22 in 40? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, because Flash Vanished 2024, he raised her 1 to 2 years. So she was about 1 or 2 in 2024.
Unless they're gonna, I don't know, unless next season the timeline's sped up.
No. Because that, it doesn't work.
I don't know how they're gonna do it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the storyline for the Crisis is different than what we know, and they.
No, because, I mean, I'm kind of thinking that the Flash doesn't end up vanishing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But
too.
I'm thinking that because of how this season's crossover ended.
Yeah.
Because in Crisis, there's always a bunch of characters who die. It's probably how we're going to lose Cisco. Is mid-season next season. He's probably going to go out during the Crisis.
Unless he's just not going to be on this season at all.
Well, they have to find a way to get rid of him. The best way to get rid of him is to kill him off in Crisis. Or injure him so bad that he can no longer participate in the activities, therefore making him go off the show.
Yeah.
Maybe showing up for cameo appearances if they need his brain. But, so that's the best way to get rid of Cisco.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he'd only have to film like half a season.
Yeah.
So, and he's not always in every episode.
Yeah, he will.
So, I mean, maybe 8 episodes he'd have to film for next season. Which,
if that.
Right, but I mean, it's a crossover. There's 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he'd have to be probably in all 3. Maybe, I mean, he's not going to die in the first episode. That's just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But he'd die in either episode 2 or 3 of the crossover.
And I mean, Arrow's going to be done after the crossover next
Arrow
season, too.
dies in episode 3.
Of
the crossover.
Okay.
Wholeheartedly. He died.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Arrow is going to be done.
Yeah.
By the crossover. Like, the show Arrow.
Yeah, I know. I know. But so it's just all very, because the way this season's crossover ended.
Yeah.
With Arrow making a deal with the Monitor. And I cannot believe I remember that name. But he made a deal with the Monitor.
Mm-hmm.
And that entire story arc, they were always talking about, well, you never know when it's your time. You never know when you're gonna go.
Right.
Like, live for the now. And, you know, and so it's just like all these clues that he was just he's gonna die. I thought he was gonna die in the crossover or something. I was like, oh my gosh. But, because he made the deal to save Superman and Supergirl and the Flash, because they were actually, like, not just in the books supposed to die, like, in the storyline in the comics, Supergirl and the Flash die. Like, that's comic, like, that is Bible law, okay? They die.
Not on the shows.
So, you have to go, there has to be some big thing that keeps him from dying.
Right.
And that's Oliver giving up his life and not telling anyone because he never shares his information. But we know that Oliver's daughter grows up without him. So,
is Felicity pregnant?
Yes. The girl that we meet in the future is their daughter. And she's cool. Blackfire is cool.
Her name is Blackfire?
No, it's Dark something, Dark Star, Darkfire.
Yeah, so after the crossover, like, Arrow's done.
Yeah.
It's gonna have 10 episodes in season 8.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep, it's gonna end right after the crossover.
Yep.
I think the last episode of the crossover is the final episode.
Probably.
Especially if he dies. But, so I think that's the only thing, like, instead of having the Flash fight the villain, I think that it's gonna be the Arrow fighting. Or the Arrow, or, like, the Monitor tells him, now is your time. And, like, Oliver and Barry suddenly change places, or Oliver swoops in at the last second and takes his place. And
Barry will be like, no!
Oh, please, I don't need another no in my life. I get enough of that from Star Wars 3. Thank you.
Yes, but this one will be far better acted.
That's true. That's true. But it's just, like, that's how I see this playing out.
Yeah.
But you have to, like, with Nora, is she going to be there?
Yeah.
Like, for Crisis, you have to have the entire team present. That would mean Nora would be there for the moment that her dad's supposed to die. Or vanish.
Well, I don't know how everything is going to go down in these last however many episodes, but the truth is coming out next week.
Yes, it is.
So they're going to find out about what Nora's really doing.
Yes. And I love that he's like, oh, we effed up somewhere. You got to tell your dad everything. Tell him about me. Tell him about whatever. We effed up. Like, I done misguided you somehow, and your dad needs to fix my crap.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Like, that he has faith that Barry will be like, okay, I'll fix what Eobard screwed up. I mean, obviously he will because he's the good guy, but he's just like, look, we've been trying to fix the past, and we majorly, royally screwed up.
Every time you try to fix the past, you majorly screw up, because anytime you make a change, it is going to affect something else. So it doesn't matter how many times you try to fix it, it's never going to be exactly the same as it was before.
Yeah, but he wasn't trying to make everything exactly the same way it was before. He was trying to save Barry. That's the line, at least, that he's selling to Nora.
Yeah.
Is that, I'm trying to help you save your dad.
But, I know. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, anytime you mess with the past or you try to change something, it's not usually going to go the way you want it to go.
Right.
It's going to get messed up in some way. And if it gets fixed, it's not going to be exactly the same as it was.
Right. But I think, I mean, this royal screw-up wasn't their fault. Like, no one could have predicted that future Grace would come back in time and F them all up.
Yeah.
Like,
So there's probably about 7 more episodes of the season. Because this was episode 16 and all the seasons have 23 episodes. So, yeah, and these last 7 episodes, I mean, whatever happens in these next couple, like, will probably determine where it's going to go.
Yeah.
In, like, the last 1 or 2 episodes of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So...
If Iris is pregnant now, it's not going to be with Nora.
Yeah.
I
really honestly don't even know how they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Because if the crossover is happening within the first, like, 8 to 9 episodes of next season, and she's supposed to be a certain age before he leaves.
But that was also in 2024 when it was supposed to happen.
So I think, like you were saying, I don't think he's necessarily going to vanish. I think that, like, something is going to be different that is going to make it so that he's still there. But
probably the truce that Arrow made.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is only 4 years away from now, you know, the whole thing. But that means that technically Nora's not supposed to be born for another 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. But we don't know how long the Flash is going to go on.
Right. Which, I mean, is probably why they're pushing it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Flash is the highest.
Because what can they do after the Crisis of Infinite Earths crossover? I mean, that's going to be, like, probably the most epic of all the crossovers that they've done.
It is. It's going to be the most epic.
It's literally going to probably make it so that some of the other shows are also going to be ending, like, and there's not going to be as much need for them because that crossover kind of changes a lot of things.
Well, with Crisis, it also what a Crisis does. They've done a lot of Crisises in the comics,
of course.
But what a Crisis does is it doesn't just bring in all the heroes of the universe. Sometimes it brings in heroes from alternate Earths and other planets and everything. Like a whole arsenal just goes.
Right.
Arsenal. I hope Rory shows up. That would be great. Anyways.
I would love a Thea and Roy reunion.
I mean, they did kind of have one, and then they went off with Nyssa and went hunting for more Lazarus pits because apparently there was more than one. Mm-hmm. Now we see future Rory in the future with Felicity's daughter.
Nice.
Yeah. He looks old, obviously, but he looks weird because of how they aged him.
Yeah.
Anyways, the whole thing with Crisis is that when the Crisis event is over, there's a lot of characters dead, and so they replace them with their alternate egos from another reality, which is how we'll always be able to have an Oliver if we need him. Mm-hmm. Alternate world Ollie can come save the day. Mm-hmm. Or alternate world Arrow, period. But there will at least be an Arrow in, like, for now, there will at least be an Arrow in Star City because we have Oliver's sister, not Thea.
Yeah.
But we have that going for us right now. But that means that after this is over, because Black Lightning, they've stated, I'm not Vixen.
Yeah, somebody's like, and there's an article that says Arrow's cancellation basically spoils Crisis Infinite Earths crossover.
Oh, it does.
Because they're like saying he will die valiantly in the final season, probably.
Yeah. But, so, I mean, we know that Black Lightning kind of actually does take place in probably the Arrowverse, like, the Arrow, like, Earth 1. Mm-hmm. And so, what could happen is that because of Crisis, the world is so shaken up now that now it's suddenly Black Lightning is also in with the rest of them.
Is he gonna be in the crossover?
No.
Oh, okay.
But, like, is what they do, like, heroes that not usually, like, there's heroes over here, but here's the main
Right.
group that's fighting.
Yeah.
And then suddenly these heroes are over here now.
Mm-hmm.
Because after a crisis, everything is just effed up.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're trying to put the world back together.
Yeah.
Well, not everything is going to go back to the way it was.
Right.
So now, instead of having Arrow, we'll have Batwoman, and probably we might get Black Lightning into the universe. I mean, it's already kind of there because we get the hints that they know about the other heroes.
Mm-hmm.
They just haven't left their city.
Well, I heard too that like some of the legends might be in the
Mhm.
crossover too. I don't know if
wouldn't
all of
doubt
them
it.
will, but
Right.
and then I saw an article too that was saying that after the Crisis crossover, like it might also be the end for like Legends and stuff after like a year or so. Like it might go on for like a little longer, but like it might not. It might also end or something like that. I don't know. I just remember seeing one recently that said that.
Well, I don't really see why.
And they're saying in
But-
tonight's episode of The Flash, like, it's centered on the idea that Eobard had shown Nora evidence that the timeline was changing. A new one was emerging, he said, and it was as a result of something big. Some fans have speculated, based on an earlier name drop and some behind-the-scenes photos from Vancouver, that Thawne might be talking about the speedster villain Godspeed. Instead, one possibility is that the alterations to the timeline are beginning to acceleration of Crisis on Infinite Earths. That event, originally scheduled per the headline in the Flash pilot for 2024, will instead be the annual Arrowverse crossover in 2019. So they're like, there's no direct reference to Crisis in any way that would validate a suspicion that Thawne is talking about the Anti-Monitor as opposed to Godspeed or even the newly emerged Cicada 2. Still, there is one odd bit of circumstantial evidence that Thawne is involved in something with a distinctly Crisis feel. One of the first lines he delivers in the episode when talking about the changes to the timeline is that he has been watching the timeline from Anthro, the first boy, to Kamandi, the last. Not only are those two references to time-lost DC heroes, but juxtaposing them might bring to mind the 2008 event series, Final Crisis. The story put those two seldom-used teenagers in the same space for a while, something that happens incredibly rarely. Basically, when you get characters like The Flash, Kamandi, Anthro, and Jonah Hex together, it's almost certainly for a crisis. So while there is no smoking gun in tonight's episode, a reasonable person could take that particular choice of Easter egg as a hint that Thawne has something bigger going on behind the scenes.
I mean, I've always suspected that he hasn't been exactly shooting straight with Nora.
I mean, Thawne is never really to be trusted.
Right. I mean,
So, because he's Thawne.
in the beginning, he probably was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not in the beginning of The Flash, but when he became.
Yeah.
When he got his powers.
Right.
Because all he was just a massive fanboy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, legit. He wanted to be the Flash. He wanted Flash signatures. He wanted, like, autograph. Like, he was the biggest fan of the Flash. Just period. And so, like, he was probably,
Yeah, see, it says Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow may end after their next seasons.
Well, I don't see what Arrow has to do with Legends. I mean, the only connection they have is Sarah.
I think they're just saying that because of the Crisis. Like, depending on what Legends are involved in the Crisis crossover, that will probably determine whether Legends ends as well as Arrow. I don't know. But they're just saying that might also end.
Well,
after
if they
its
kill
next
off
season.
Sarah in Crisis, then it's over. At least
Yeah.
for me. I'm done. But, like, if they kill off, like, if Nate comes back onto the team for Crisis,
Mhm.
then he dies, I don't care.
Yeah.
It
It has to be like a big character.
Yeah, like, they can't kill off Sarah or Mick, I think. Those are my two.
See, for me, like, I'd be really sad if it was Ray.
I know you would.
I like Ray!
I know you do. But
He's like the comic relief.
right, but with Arrow ending, like we have science people on Arrow that won't have anywhere else to go. So if Ray dies, we could always get Mr. Terrific on Legends.
Yeah.
So technically speaking, Ray is replaceable. But
Mick and Sarah aren't.
no.
Sarah most definitely is not.
No. I mean,
Even though she was brought back to life.
right. The closest you could get to replacing Sarah would be getting Earth 2 Laurel.
Mm-hmm.
But she's making waves as the DA now. She's taking over old Laurel's life.
Yeah.
She's only just, like, she's discovering what it means to be a good guy.
Mhm.
She's not exactly in the right place to be able to lead a team of heroes.
Plus, I don't think that, like, I don't know. I don't think she needs to be on
right.
Legends. You know what I mean?
Right. But, like, with Arrow ending,
Mhm.
you know, all these characters are going to have to find a place to go. I mean, if they're going to continue, you know.
Mhm.
But
I mean, do you think that it's, like, necessarily shocking or surprising that they're ending Arrow after
No.
the crossover?
no, they had actually only originally planned for five seasons.
Really?
Yes, because the whole idea was to play out Oliver's story to the moment where his past on Lian Yu meets up with his present.
Mm-hmm.
The moment where his past and his present finally become one, and we have no more flashbacks to the past,
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to be the end. When Lian Yu exploded, it was supposed to be it. And it wasn't.
That's how it was with Supernatural.
Yeah.
I mean, that was only supposed to be 5 seasons, and it's up to 14.
Yeah.
Went on
But
9
these
seasons
seasons
already.
of Arrow, since they've decided to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
have been better than the seasons of Supernatural.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that they haven't been. I haven't been watching Arrow, but I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think a few of the seasons after season 5 have been good of Supernatural. Like, I liked 6, and I liked 8 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
And 11 was good. 12, 13 haven't been that great. This current season's okay. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they don't want to overstay their welcome,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Well, if
they
it
want to
doesn't,
go out on a high note.
yeah, and if it doesn't need to have any more story to it, and it can end after the crossover, then end it there.
Yeah. I would think that after the crossover, if there's another episode of Arrow,
Mm-hmm.
then it would probably be, like, the funeral.
Yeah.
Because I would, like, if Arrow dies, I mean,
Mhm.
when Arrow dies.
Aw, Katie Cassidy, who's Laurel, posted that picture.
Oh, that's so cute. Then they would have to have an episode solely dedicated to him.
Mhm.
Because he is the one who started all of this. Without Arrow, we wouldn't have the Arrowverse.
Yeah, we wouldn't. And that's what Grant Gustin said, like, when he made the post on his Instagram about Arrow. Because,
Mhm.
like, I saw it, and I was like, wait, what? You know? And he was saying, you know, it wouldn't be what it is without you.
Yeah.
Like, you were the first. And...
So, yeah, that's basically how tonight can impact everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, what you read, it's true. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't really think, I mean, one, like I said, who the hell can predict a future person coming to the past?
Right.
That was unpredictable.
Mm-hmm. He's posting all these pictures, damn it.
And then it's like, okay, well, he obviously has his own plans, like probably get off death row,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't have a problem with. I would want to get off death row too.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't see him working with the Anti-Monitor or whatever bull that thing said.
Katie Lotz, who's Sarah, commented, and she's like, "Did you say, Steven, you're a legend? There's always room on their Wave Rider."
But like, he's not working with the Anti-Monitor. He's not working with whatever the hell is causing Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
He's, which I think would be the Anti-Monitor. But, but I do think the thing that is unpredictable probably is the Crisis that's coming next season.
Mm-hmm.
That we'll get at the end of this year. And that is why he's saying you have to hurry and everything. Because I think after, like, once it gets too close to that point, even though Nora has stated in her journal that Sherlock has read-ish,
Mm-hmm.
it says the timeline is malleable.
Right.
Which he quoted tonight to no reaction from Nora. Nora didn't react at all. Did you notice that?
Yeah, she didn't.
He's like, well, the timeline is malleable. Or whatever, you know. And, like, she's just like, we've just gotta do this! Like, she's just solely concentrated on finding a cicada. We just gotta, you have to figure out what you're gonna say! Well, the timeline is malleable. I don't know what we're gonna do! Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there was no reaction from Nora when he quoted her.
Mm-hmm.
Which also leads me to believe that maybe it wasn't exactly verbatim what the note said because it's a translation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you find the closest words that your society at that moment knows to what is being said.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you translate. So that's probably not exactly what she wrote down, but it's similar enough.
And I mean, yeah, Nora's made a lot of mistakes, and I'm sure that there's a lot of things that are happening that aren't what she predicted necessarily, or are actually turning out that way instead of how she thought they would. But, you know, I mean, I don't know. Like, I honestly can't tell you how things are gonna go, like, leading up into these next 7 episodes.
Like, Barry was crying when Nora confronted him in the promo.
Yeah, they both were crying.
Yeah,
they both had tears in their eyes.
Yeah, because she's been working with their arch enemy.
How do you think that's gonna make him feel?
Betrayed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
the one person he never thought would do that to him is going to betray him. His own flesh and blood. His own freaking daughter. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, that's worse than, like, freaking anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like,
I don't know. I just really hope that it doesn't make him do something stupid.
It is. It's obviously going to make him do something. He's probably going to run with the future and tell him off. And then he's going to stay and look at the Flash Museum. And everything's going to go to effing hell.
Because that's just what Barry Allen does.
He might even go talk to Iris, and Iris be like, the F you doing here? Get back to your own damn timeline. Like, don't screw with time. I wouldn't change my life. The only thing I would change is to have you in it.
Stop.
Like, I could just picture that, you know?
You're my lightning bolt. Or you're my lightning rod.
Yeah, because, like, she'd be telling him. He's not her lightning rod.
She's his.
Yes. But, like you said, he's her lightning bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Because for every rod, there's a bolt. And that came out weird.
That was so corny.
That's not the corny. I didn't focus on the corny part once that left my mouth.
I didn't even. I was just like, that's so cheesy.
It is cheesy, but so is You're My Lightning Rod.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. Just like the I love you, I know.
No. No. Nothing ever will come close to that moment.
I'm not saying that it's like better than that moment. I'm just saying it's like cheesy level of the same thing.
That's not cheesy. She's telling him I love you, and he's about to be frozen in carbonite forever, and he says I know. Because he's too macho to say I love you too.
He should have.
And she knows that that's what he wanted to say. She can see it on his face.
Okay,
But
I understand.
in order to keep her safe from Jama, he said I know instead of I love you too.
I'm just messing with you.
Do not! No! Because you know Jama would go after her if he knew that Han loved her.
Oh my goodness. I'll admit it's not cheesy. It's beautimous.
Thank you.
I never said it wasn't beautiful. I like that moment, okay?
There's so much in that moment.
I know! I like it too! I never said it wasn't beautiful. I was just comparing it. But clearly, The Flash is more cheesy.
Yes, it is.
Even though their relationship is still just as beautiful. They're Barry and Iris. They are a comic book canon couple.
I know.
Like Clark and Lois. So
I
don't even
know.
get me started. Like, whatever. Hey, you did it to me.
But yeah, like, I mean, I do think that next season's villain is going to be Godspeed.
Oh, yeah.
So, I actually know next to nothing about Godspeed. So if y'all want to catch me up on that crap, like,
If you're still watching.
before everything hits the fan, then, you know, like, comments or Twitter or both or whatever.
Yeah, if you're still watching this video.
But yeah.
We just totally went off on something completely different from the episode.
Well, a lot of it had to do with the episode. The
True.
only thing that didn't was my small recent rant about Star Wars.
I liked seeing, well, yeah.
But that was like 2 seconds.
I liked seeing Cecile and Joe, like, be partners. I know that
Mhm.
he apologized for, you know, all of that. Their height
Yes.
difference is insane, by the way.
Yes, it's a foot and a half.
No, a foot and an inch.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Because
I meant an inch, but
she's
my mom
5
said
feet
that.
and he's 6'1".
Yeah.
But yeah, that was nice. Other than that, I mean, we pretty much covered all of the stuff we wanted to really say about it.
Yeah.
And next week will be pretty good, because the truth comes out, yo.
Yes.
Next week is called Time Bomb.
Because that's a bomb.
Because it be a ticking time bomb, y'all.
Because that's a bomb that she just... it's like a mic drop. She's like,
She dropped the bomb.
It'd be like, I've been working with Eobarthon this whole time.
What the heck? What you just tell me? How dare you betray me like that, my daughter?
Right? I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't know what he did to you.
I can never trust you again. How could you do this to me?
You know that if Barry and Iris actually do end up having Nora,
Mm-hmm.
that, like, up until now, Nora assumes that everything that Iris has done
Mm-hmm.
has been to protect her from her father's fate.
Yeah.
Or what if it wasn't? Because future Iris would know
Yeah.
what she did.
Right. Look what you made me do.
Future Iris knows that she is working with Eobard Thawne. So she could have put the dampener in her daughter as a precaution to try and prevent that future.
Yeah.
Not to protect her from Barry's misgivings, But
Oh, so many predictions, man.
like
So many theories, so many predictions.
this time, I have said it many a time, but as Ron Stoppable said in the Kim Possible movie, A Stitch in Time,
Oh, Lord.
time travel. It's a cornucopia of disturbing concepts.
Oh, of course. And I mean, that's not just from Kim Possible. I mean, like, all time travel related shows and movies, like, it's the same concept. You mess with time, you gotta face the consequences.
Yeah. But I was just quoting that specific line.
Yeah.
Because it is a cornucopia of disturbing concepts.
Because if you mess things up, it could create a paradox, like Doc Brown says. Or it could completely change how history turns out in the present. Like, you know, there's a lot of things.
Because the present is history.
Doesn't mean that time travel isn't awesome and fun to watch, because it sure is.
Yes.
But, you know, anytime you mess with time, it's gonna...
Something gets left on the sidelines.
Something is going to change.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I guess that's pretty much everything.
Yeah.
We've legit covered this season and next season. But it needed to be done.
Well, because there's so much speculation and so many theories, because Arrow's ending now, you know, and whether he's gonna die and all this stuff. Like, there's so many things to consider.
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah.
Apologies if you didn't want to hear all about that, but that's what you got.
Yes. Because it all had to do with tonight's episode.
It did. I mean, that article I read specifically had to do with tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So, I suppose, guys, that until next time,
keep believing in the impossible.